What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are traditional fans with opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Season 2, Episode 7. So in this episode, this continues the Aizawa flashback. So, yeah, so while, working at the Hero Agency Team Purple Revolution, so Eraserhead, basically, so his Purple Highness tells him to, like, basically that, his person, he doesn't really have any flair, to stand out more. Basically, Eraserhead's personality. And Shirakumo gives Eraserhead his goggles to help him use his quirk, because they were dealing with this smoke villain, so Eraserhead wasn't able to see, and basically, and like the smoke would get in his eyes, and that would prevent him from using his quirk, which required his eyes, and so using the goggles, he's able to use his quirk effectively to defeat this smoke villain, like when he fights the guy again. And Shirakumo, his hero name is Loud Cloud, and so Eraserhead and Loud Cloud become like a very good duo, you know, under his Purple Highness. And basically, their training exercise they go against, Present Mike and Sensoji. So Sensoji was a guy who was like kind of like bullying Eraserhead, like in the previous episode during the flashback. And so, and since Soji and Razorhead, they have like sunglasses that they wear. So in Soji's case, it's because of his quirk that it's the sunglasses help him be able to see, so he can aim better. So Soji challenges them, and like there's a bet to like basically whoever loses like has to get rid of their glasses. So, and Razorhead's like, yeah, bets off. Yeah, no, he doesn't want to do it. Like, and basically when it's like 2-on-1, he's like, it's 2-on-1, it's hardly fair, so no. So, and Racerhead and Wild Cloud win. And so, later, Racerhead, Wild Cloud, and President Mike are talking, on the roof. And, Wild Cloud recommends, like, them start their own independent agency, at the three of them. And, Kama arrives showing, like, some cat pictures. And Wild Cloud, who is obviously into Midnight, says, yeah, we have agent for the four of us. And, Midnight says that she's starting her own. Wildcard's like, oh, maybe I could work for you. And it's like it is so funny. And so basically, yeah. So then, yeah, that whole bit's funny. Then there's like it shows a week later. It's like a stormy night, and there's like this big villain that's doing a whole rampage, and his Purple Highness is unconscious, and you have the news like audio saying that His Purple Highness is unconscious and like one of the work study students is injured. So people who have read this manga know what happens, and people who have watched the original show, who watched the original My Hero Academia, and read that manga, probably have a decent idea of what happens, you know, to a certain character. And yeah, so it's and I'm not gonna say if you're right or not, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. Liked all this, liked how like we're seeing how Eraserhead becomes more of a hero. Like this is kind of like his backstory. That I'm honestly surprised that we didn't get this flashback in the main series because of like the stuff because of Kurogiri, with Lao Cloud becoming Kurogiri. I am surprised this flashback didn't happen. Like it is kind of surprising. And so yeah, I thought this was a really good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Home Kamuy season 5 episode 7. So in this episode, so yeah. So then in this one, so Shirumi, uses the Wilk mask to torture Sophia and to get Osprey to say what the key to what the code is to the map. And Osprey eventually says that it's her father's Ainu name, which is Horku Oskoni. Basically, it's like a wolf Kamui, and so yeah, and then Ariko comes in to help Ashapa escape, and then yeah, so Asuna reunites with Sugimo, and basically, so then everyone's heading towards. Well, of course, you have Hijikawa's group and Sugimo's group. Obviously, they're working together right now. They're trying to get to the treasure to the looks like where the Ainu had all died earlier. And you have Surumi trying to crack the code. So we're getting to the final stages of the treasure hunt. So that should be interesting. Yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. Liked how like we're seeing all these like all this so basically so we're getting to where the treasure is about to happen. I'm interested in this, seeing how we get to it, how we get to all this treasure. So yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Primal season 3 episode 6. So in this one, so Spears group finds the Entelodonts, finds their lair. Mira and Spear scout, do some sky side while everyone else, Fane and her offspring wait outside. So Mira and Spear find the tribe. They found the tribe, but and they're able to escape before they're getting caught by any Intolodonts, and so Mira goes back alone to scout out again. And Spear has some more visions, tries to reconnect with Fane, and Fane like continues rejecting him while her offspring like accept Spear. So Mira tries to save Jabu, who's like but the whole incident like alerts the rest of the captives, and like they all try to climb on, and the force of all that weight breaks the rope that Mira was using, and so and the Intolodons are alerted and start attacking people. A lot of people die. So Spear, Fane, and Fane's kids like get into and they fight the Intolodons. And a lot of the Mira's if like tribal members, they're afraid of Spear, even though he's protecting them, because well, I mean, it's a freaking zombie. So the mother Intolodont wakes up and attacks Fane, and Spear gets pissed off and attacks but is beaten by the mother Intolodont. So and Fane's children try to attack Mother Intolodont, but Mother Intolodont attacks the kids. They live. One of these where a lot of the more important major character is the less likely their blood's gonna splatter on the wall. And so Fane, once her kids get hit, she gets pissed off and she then attacks the mother Intolodont again and tears out its throat. And so an Intolodont that's still alive attacks Mira, throws her to a wall, and for Spear like rips its like for Spear like kills it. And like I mean Spear's bet like he rips a tooth out and kills it Intolodont with the tooth. And Spear tries to check on Mira, but Fane you know, keeps them away. And Jabu and Fane's children check on, Mira, who's bleeding and is not moving. Yeah. So obviously, look, Mira's not dead. There's still a kid to be born in the, with the epilogue of season two. You know that the Mira and the kid and the fetus are going to be safe. Now, unless the fetus, the kid dies, and Mira screws gets impregnated by the zombie um spear, that would be weird. Like that's some Jujutsu Kaisen type crap right there. Y- Yeah, 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 yeah. So I thought it was good. I thought it was mostly a decent. So my biggest criticism is that okay, Mira is pregnant. She should not be doing. She should not be involved with that kind of mission at all. That is just a fact. She may be a capable fighter, but she is pregnant. It's very far along, and therefore should not be out there. Like should be, at the camp. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, if it was a deal, yeah, there's literally no one else. Unfortunately, that's the thing. But yeah, I thought overall thought it was a good episode. Looking for the next one. Nine Seven Kingdoms, season one, episode five. So in this episode, so the trial of seven begins. They're in like the whole first charge. Arian, knocks Dunk from his horse, and they're in this whole fight. You have like flashbacks to Dunk's childhood. So he and his friend Rafe, they're at the basically they're scavenging battlefield. The basically it's implied to be the Battle of Red Grass Field, which was the last battle of the first Blackfire Rebellion. So, for context, so Blackfire Rebellion's in 196 AC, so, you know, basically then, yeah, so, that's like a lot of the Blackfire Rebellions are kind of like the backdrop of this. There's a lot of context regarding this, and so currently, 97 Kingdoms, we are in 209 AC. So this flashbacks to 13 years before. So, like, yeah, they definitely aged up Dunk because Dunk is supposed to be like 16 at this point in the book. Like in the books, Dunk is 16, and so obviously with the Black Brothers 13, he would be 3 years old in like in King, in like Flea Bob and all that. So yeah, it's definitely they aged him up, you know whatever. And so the Battle of Redgrass Field, basically yeah. So and in that battle, so like it's a little Redgrass Field is like so little near. It's near King's Landing, so that's how Dunk was able to get there. And so yeah, he and Rafe. Now Rafe is a friend of Dunk's from Flea Bottom. So like Dunk had a few friends he describes, in conversations, in the books, like with Egg. And so now regards to the like to Dunk's friends, like so you have, Rafe, you had you have your Rafe, Ferret, and Pudding. Uh, and yeah, so there's like a little bit that's no like yeah, and there's like a not a lot that's known about. So you have all he knows that they were orphans. So you have where it's like you don't really even know like they're gender is not really known for all of them, like in the book. So like you don't know like what gender Ferret, Rafe, and Pudding are in the books. Like you do not know. Now they made Rafe a girl. I think Pudding and Ferret are mentioned. So in so in the flashback, so Rafe is kind of arrogant, very arrogant. Very want to steal stuff. So yeah, so basically, then Rafe steals and Dunk steal from Alistair, a member of the City Watch. Basically, Dunk and Rafe are trying to get passage to the Free Cities, which honestly might be worse than King's Landing. But they can't afford. So Alistair corners him, gets the money back, gets their money, and his money, of course. And so Rafe steals Alistair's dagger, but Alistair notices that she tries to steal his dagger, that she stole his dagger, so he slits her throat. Arlen, who's drunk, comes out of a tavern, notices what's going on, and kills Alistair, saving Dunk. So Dunk follows Arlen around, and of course, that obviously leads to him being a squire, and then possibly knighted. We don't know if he was ever officially knighted. So Megan Present, so Dunk and Arian, they're dueling each other on foot. Both are like really injured, and so Dunk falls unconscious, and Arian tries to declare him to be dead. But before the horn blares that he's that Dunk is dead, Egg calls for Dunk to get up, and the Dunk hears Egg's voice, and he starts to stand. The crowd starts cheering for him, and so Dunk and Arian, they fight more, and Dunk gets here and starts beating the crap out of Arian. And like Arian says he yields, but he says soft, but due to how soft his voice is from after being beat up so much, Dunk knows they can't hear him. No, so Dunk drags Arian and gets and has him say out loud that he withdraws the accusation. And one thing happens, so when Dunk's fighting Arian, Makar's trying to get towards Arian to help him. That's his son. So and he's just hitting people like he, you know, stabs a wild Baratheon's horse. He, hits Baylor in the head, crushing the visor, and that's important, and that he crushed the visor. So it looks like it's more just a blind rage that he was just trying to help his son, because he knows his son, like Arian's a freaking retarded prick, but that's his son, and so obviously a bunch of fights going. So like there is like a lot of stuff. So like regarding like so then so you have the Fossaway, so Stefan and Raymond, they're fighting each other, they're injured, and it's confirmed that you know it is confirmed that uh that like so his so some of the people who had fought with him, you had Harding and B and so and Beesbury, they die. So yeah, Humphrey Beesbury, Humphrey Harding, they had died. Like they all like they die. Like yeah, they're in the battle, and you know Baylor walks towards Dunk. Dunk basically pledges fealty to Baylor, basically thanking him for his help, and and Baylor's like his advisor. He needs help to get his arm. Well, technically it's his son's arm. Valar is his arm because basically Baylor didn't bring his own armor because he probably was assuming he wasn't going to compete, so he didn't bring his armor. Now, I mean, and so So obviously he's wearing someone's armor, so it may not fit as well. So then, um, and it's hard to remove because Makar crushed it with his mace. And so Raymond and Pate help Baylor get his helmet off, but due to all the injuries from him getting his basically hit by a mace with the in the helmet in the head where um Baylor collapses from like his injuries and all that from the battle from the Trial 7, and like he dies in Dunk's arms. Like Dunk is not happy about like what happened. And that's something Makar is gonna have to live with. So it looks like that because with Baylor's death, there were some mysteries in the books about it because so a lot of what we see from Dunk's perspective. We don't he's the POV character in the books. So you don't see a lot of stuff from other characters' point of view. So with Baylor there were mysteries regarding what happened. Because with Makar doesn't even remember like so we see that in the show, Makar was trying to get towards Aaron. He was there helping. He was a hit. Whoever was in the way, he was hitting. He didn't care who. And so, yeah. And so the whole tournament's interesting because you have Baylor has a plan due to how to deal with the Kingsguard because since he's a Targaryen, Kingsguard would be pretty hesitant to attack him. Even though it's a trial by 7, so legally they could get away with attacking Baylor. Although I do think most would prefer Baylor over Makar and Arian. I mean, Baylor would, yes, because Baylor, I think, would have been a good king. The way he's portrayed, he would have been a good king. Well, of course, that's not going to happen. There's going to be a lot of Targaryen deaths in this show. A lot will probably be off screen. I mean, and a lot, depends on how far this show gets, because there's another unfinished George R. R. Martin series. Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was a very good episode. Like I'm being an anime fan, I'm okay with flashbacks. Like some people complain about the flashback a lot, flashbacks a lot of noise. Like, well, flashbacks waste time. I'm like, I was like, my biggest criticism is that Dunk was too old. That he should be like younger. That'd be my only major criticism. Is how much they aged up Dunk. I mean, they've aged this franchise has aged up characters before. Like in the Game of Thrones, Daenerys was very famously aged up for basically legal reasons. They well, for what all happens to Daenerys, if they got a character actress that was this age of the character, exact age of the character, yeah, that there'd be legal issues. And so they did what they could. I think that bit Martin was okay with changing, and and the Sir Arlen stuff was awesome, and and basically you see Dunk gets a victory. Basically the small folk cheering for Dunk, and that's like a big deal. But now Baylor's dead, like by the future king. Like Makar does become king of Westeros. He does become king eventually. You know, because I mean, so with Baylor's death, regardless of when Makar hit, Makar doesn't really remember much about hitting Baylor, but as the show shows, he was going after Aaron, trying to get to Arian. But books, some stuff's not as clear because that's why some people have theories that Brendan Rivers, aka Blood Raven, was involved, that he may have warged into Makar or something, and like so, and yeah, so next episode is definitely gonna deal with the fallout and like of the Trial of Seven, and like Dunk and Egg, like starting I guess to go on their adventures. So we'll see how all that goes. One episode left this season, and then I believe next year is supposed to be the next supposed to be season two. Adapting Sworn Sword. So yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Well, and that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.